Hi, and welcome to the NBA Economy Show. This is Fritz. I'm sorry, looks like my camera's off for the moment. We'll try that again. Well, anyway, welcome to the NBA Economy Show. This is Fritz. I know it's a long time no see. What we're gonna do today is we're just gonna update a little bit on the Knicks. This is kind of be the first show we're gonna have in a long time. The shows are gonna start getting regular. Just not working full time anymore, so I have a lot more time on my hands. So we can talk about the Knicks. We could talk about the NBA. We could talk about it a lot more than we did before. So sorry for the long hiatus. It's been about a month since I have been on here. It's been busy. Um, but we're just going to update on the Knicks, where the Knicks are at, and we're going to have some more chats, but we're pretty much today just going to be an update. So right now the Knicks are 22 games in. The Knicks currently situated fourth in the East. We see above them, we see the Magic have lost another main piece. So the Knicks look like they may be in that third slot rather quickly. The Knicks came in the season. ESPN, a lot of the pundits put us at second in the East, and they said we can challenge Boston. I think right now, most Knicks fans, if you're honest with yourself, we cannot challenge Boston right now. Just not there defensively, offensively. Yes, we are a juggernaut, but defensively, I don't think we can really hang with Boston in their large wings. We do have our set of wings. Wingstop hasn't exactly been what we want it to be defensively. Offensively, it has worked out great. Mikal Bridges hasn't even really been his usual self, and we could see the offensive efficiency of the Knicks has been sky high. Do we really want to see that defensive intensity come across? Because that's going to be important with Boston. So you have to start. You have to stop Tatum. You have to stop Brown, and that's part of the equation of beating Boston. Offensively, I think we're kind of good right now. Uh, uh, Mikel's efficiency will come around. I'm not really worried about that. But it's something to keep in mind. It hasn't quite clicked yet for him defensively, but it will come around. The Knicks last time we got on, the cat trade was finally finalized. So we actually got the trade information, and let me just bring up that the cat trade information. So right below, so we got Carl Anthony Towns. At the time, Julius Randle, Dante DiFrancesco were the main pieces that went out for us. A whole lot of other things. First round pick, second round picks, a lot of tertiary players that we pretty much weren't going to sign. Um, I think looking at the Timberwolves, it quite hasn't worked out for them. I really don't think Minnesota had much of a choice. Like Minnesota had to trade Karl Anthony Towns, and they had to go somewhere. And I think the Knicks were the best trade. Um, there's a play component to this. There's a public component to this. You have hopefully two new owners coming in, and the new owners have to show face. They can't say, "Hey, we're gonna tank the franchise coming in." So they have to show they have a winning attitude while trading Karl Anthony Towns. If they traded Karl Anthony Towns straight up, or even with a couple picks, with an expiring player, say if that player was like Ben Simmons, so they could have gotten out of that contract and say, "Hey, Uh, Brooklyn, you want Carl Anthony Towns? You could take Ben Simmons, and our financial problems are over. But you have to face the public in trading Ben Simmons for Carl Anthony Towns, and people aren't gonna, look at that positively. With the Knicks, they got Julius Randle. Best case scenario, they could have took Julius Randle uh, at the end of the year. Look at it and say, hey, perhaps we can re-sign you. Um, at worst, and I think right now they're looking at the worst case scenario. They're gonna, I think they're gonna trade Julius Randle. It's like, hey, Julius Randle expiring uh, a player who has an option for an extension for 1 year. Let me get rid of him for an expiring contract. This is where you could go to New Jersey and say, hey, can I have Ben Simmons for Julius Randle, maybe a pick, and it wouldn't be such a public outrage because you got good value for Karl Anthony Towns. This is seen as a second trade. Even with Dante hasn't quite worked out for them, but Dante has shown himself as a good defender. Even if his shots aren't hitting, they could get maybe a few second round picks, another expiring for him. I think I don't think Timberwolves are done. Um, so that's what it is with the Timberwolves. As for us, Karl Anthony Towns has really worked out, and I think the Knicks are very strategic in the way they've made this go down. The Knicks didn't just throw Karl Anthony Towns into the mix and see how it works. They brought him over. They let him know that you can go all out. Like, don't worry about who's the guy. You don't have to worry about Jalen Brunson being the guy. And Timberwolves, Jalen Edwards has been like pushed to kind of be the guy, and they kind of asked Cat to take a back seat and support him. The Knicks, he's not a support player. We like you. You're talented. Play your game. Don't worry about it. They got it. They fed him early, made sure he's comfortable. So I think this has really been a great turnaround for him. I've really had a whole spreadsheet, but I don't really want to go away from that because looks like my machine's freezing when I'm changing. But we see he had a big increase, scoring over 4 points a game increase, rebounding over 4 rebounds in increase. He looks really comfortable out there. He looks like an MVP candidate. Currently, a lot of people put him at 5th in the MVP race. So the Knicks have really maximized that trade. When we're looking at that trade and the assets we gave up, a lot of people have looked at it and say, hey, the Knicks don't have anything left. After the Mikal Bridges trade and the Karl Anthony Towns trade, we have a one conditional first round pick that converts to 2 second round picks. We don't have anything left. The Knicks have decent assets. Like, we don't have the bunch of first round picks we used to. We still do have decent assets. We have around, I think, 7 second round picks. We do have that conditional first. We'll treat it like 2 seconds because I don't really want to really treat it like a first because it's not going to be valued that high. But we also have 3 swaps, 2 first round swaps that we can use. I don't really look forward to the Knicks giving away swaps, but if needed, those are available. So the Knicks, don't look at the Knicks as, hey, we don't have any assets left. Where we're at, you have to be. I'm kind of on the fence. I wouldn't say I'm happy of where we're at this part of the season, but we do see that we are gelling, so that is positive. So was the Cat trade necessary? Yes, it's necessary for the Knicks Uh, uh, the Timberwolves did it for financial reasons. The Knicks did it for play reasons and for financial reasons. Last time I got on here, the last time I said I'm really interested to see what's going to happen with Mikal Bridges. So Mikal Bridges, when he declined his option for extension, the Knicks probably knew for a long time. The public just didn't know. So once Mikal Bridges did not accept that extension, I don't think there was a path for Julius Randle here, because Julius Randle basically didn't have room for a raise. So basically, you're telling Julius, you're not getting that extension. We need to trade you. If that had gone out around the league, the value of Julius Randle would have went down, because you're not at that point. You're not voluntarily trading Julius Randle. You're trading him out of necessity. So once you're trading out of necessity, people don't give you their best because they know you have to deal them. Um, I think they are preemptive. So we start seeing some other information around the league that may give an idea of what the Knicks may have known when they traded for Mikal Bridges, that Mikal was not accepting it. We see with the information with Zion how he defected from CAA, and one of the big reasons is they couldn't get him to New York. And if you kind of deduce from that, perhaps the Knicks made a pass at Zion this summer, and that just let him know, okay, it's not working. Let me get out of CAA. So Knicks possibly not only going after Cat, but at the same time going after Zion Williamson. We heard the name Jimmy Butler. I wouldn't necessarily say the Knicks gave the same energy that they gave this trade, but I think the overwhelming sentiment is that the Knicks needed to make this trade, and it wasn't Julius Randle's bad, Cat is good, or Dante's bad and Cat is good, but it was kind of a perfect storm of we want to change our play style, and Julius Randle can't get a raise. And I think that it was kind of a perfect storm, and they got it done right before the season. Where does that put us now? Um, some people lately have asked, is Dante returning? Is Dante DiVincenzo it's not working out in Minnesota? Perhaps they want to trade him. Minnesota has kind of debunked that and said, hey, we're not looking to trade Dante DiVincenzo. I don't think they would ever put a message out like that, because once you put a message out like that, you devalue the player. They may actually be looking to trade him, but it won't happen to the Knicks, and it's not going to happen this season, just because the CBA doesn't allow it. So if we traded Dante to Minnesota, Minnesota cannot trade him back to us for a year. Is it possible this year that we can get Dante some other way? The rules are so ridiculous on it. Dante would have to be traded, released, picked up, and released again. So it's not going to happen this year. Next year, do I think Minnesota would trade him to us? No, I don't think they would do that. I think maybe if he went to another team and another team saw something they liked on our team, we could see it. But I don't see it happening. Dante is such a valuable piece. I really don't see it realistic happening for a couple years, and the circumstances would have to be wild for it to happen. I shout out everybody who's in the chat. If you could just hit that thumbs up, it really helps our channel. So where are the Knicks now? I think the Knicks right now, they're right up against the cap. We see that they did move a lot of chess pieces to get Matt Ryan in the door. even drafting him in the first two picks of the G League draft. Also drafting yeah, so the Knicks haven't really used Matt Ryan. Matt Ryan, when he's come into the game, he doesn't look like a complete player. He doesn't look like a complete NBA player. Doesn't look like someone you could put out there for 15 minutes and not worry about. Like on defense, he is a negative. His shooting may be decent, but all he provides is shooting. Um, I really don't know at this point what their goal is. I think right now they're required to have 14 players. So I think right now he's not going anywhere just because they're required to have 14 players. He is a non-guaranteed player. I think of if who they want is available come February. I think come before he becomes guaranteed, I think he will be released and someone else will be coming in. I don't see Matt Ryan as someone we should look at as a rotation piece at all. So that portion has not really worked out. I think it may switch once some more pieces are moved around. Okay, so where are we now? Right now is the 8th. If you look up ahead, the NBA trade season begins the 15th. So a week. What this NBA trade season beginning means. So a lot of those off-season signings are able to be traded. So I think they said it's 87% of the league is able to be traded at one time. So on the 15th, should we expect a bunch of trades? A bunch of shams trades? No, don't expect anything on the 15th. That just says the they're just open for trades. I think a lot of teams are posturing right now. They're telling a lot of other teams, "Hey, we really believe in this player. We're not giving them up for anything. They're a long-term piece." When they really want to trade them, but on the 15th, they can start really starting talking about it and start talking realistic prices. So everybody starts posturing, and people could start talking for real. What do I think of the Knicks? Well, I think the Knicks' biggest acquisitions are back from the injured list. So Precious coming back is huge. Um, when I was looking at a lot of trades, looking on different rosters, you want to think of what does the Knicks need and who's on what roster and what realistically do we have to give up to get that player on this roster. Um, well, when you have Cat up front, the things that you really want next to Cat starting, um, you want somebody who's aggressive. Um, Typically, you want somebody if you really want 6'10", taller. Also, someone who cuts because Cat's a great passer. Um, Cat is a willing passer, so someone who can catch a pass and someone who can convert down low. Um, a lot of those players will cost a pretty penny, but the Knicks have someone in Precious Achua who just came back, who fits most of that. He's not 6'10", but right now he doesn't cost anything. He's not going to cost any picks. He isn't going to cost any other assets. Um, in right now, I think Precious Achua is what they need to be focused on right now. His contract the Knicks signed was 1 year, $6 million, and he waived his no trade clause. Being that he saved he He waived his no trade clause. He can't be traded till February. So he cannot be traded till February. I believe February 3rd. So I wouldn't look at any trade that involves Precious um, anytime soon. I think the Knicks. Do I think Knicks ultimately keep Precious? I think they'll keep him if they don't find anything that drastically improves the team. Um, as far as Mitchell Robinson, I think Mitchell Robinson is probably traded. I don't think he hasn't really shown himself reliable. He is our veteran on the team. He has the longest tenure on the Knicks. I don't think you can really look at it. I think you have a lot of fans. It's like, oh, if he just develops a jump shot, or if he is able to do those things he does in practice. He's been on this team for like 6 years, and he hasn't developed those things. He isn't developing those things right now. Um, just have to be realistic. The best thing about to other teams, good defender. He doesn't have to be in there for 30 minutes. I think other teams can look at it and look at his salary and say, okay, he's on a decent deal this year, and his salary goes down. I think that makes him extremely attractive. I think it makes him very attractive this year. Next summer, I think a lot of people will look, hey, it's an expiring deal, decent center. But I think right now, just the fact that everybody is penny pitching, trying to get under the second apron, I think it's extremely valuable having Mitchell Robinson. I think getting him back, showing he's healthy, is priority. So I think he'll be back, and I think a trade will happen. I'm gonna save time for potential trades. I don't want to do that now because today is just a status report. We're just trying to see where we're at. Okay. So as far as the status report, we're gonna just go down the questions. Do we have any assets? Yes. We have second round picks. Yes, we have a conditional first. It isn't worth much, but we do have it. We do have swaps. So yes, we do have assets. Our cap situation, we're right up against the cap. We're right up against the second apron that we cannot exceed. So that's our situation. Deadline. Do you see a trade or no trade? I definitely see trade. I don't see the Knicks sitting on Mitchell Robinson as an asset, and then trusting on him being there in the playoffs. I think the trust is the big thing. Um, he just can't count on him not being injured unless you're going to put him in bubble wrap, unless he's a player that you're going to hardly play until the playoffs, or you're going to load manage. And we know Tibbs is not that type of coach. He's not going to wrap him in bubble wrap. So I think you trade him. I think you trade him for a couple pieces. I don't think you trade him and another player for a bigger player. I think you may break him down into two pieces. If you can get a long term player with that doesn't salary doesn't explode, I think that would be great. So I am going yes for a deadline trade. Was the cat trade necessary? Yes, I think the Mikal Bridges situation eliminated Julius Randle from getting an extension. So yes, it was necessary. Is Dante returning? No, not this year. And if he traded next year, it would have to be very special circumstances. I don't see him probably swapping two teams within that period of time. So that's my update for now. If you have any questions, you can put it in the chat. My guess my camera is freezing. I would like to thank everybody who's kind of been there. Really, really happy you guys have stuck around. So again, follow me on X for its handles. Um, I also always am on the Nick of Time show, helping out with the background, helping on Discord. So please check out the Nick of Time show. We're really there for the like sensible fans. We have really um, high value talk about the Knicks. We don't really talk about the silly stuff. We really get into the analytics. We really get into serious Nick talk. Um, what else? Please subscribe to the NBA Economy Show. Really helps out. I'm at 200 subscribers. I'm not like certified. I'm still a new user. But we're trying to get to the 500 mark, and I'm gonna try to get there in 2 months. So for the All Star break, trying to get to the 500 mark. So please subscribe. Please share. Also, I do have a little Cash App link, whatever. If you want to donate anything to the channel, that's great. It takes assets, it takes equipment to make this work, and we're gonna try to put as much money into the channel as we can to get the best product. What's coming with the channel? Well, with the channel, we're gonna have more than just Knicks talk. So we're gonna talk about other teams in the division around the NBA. But we'll always have time for Knicks questions. So even if we're talking about the Spurs, you can drop your Knicks questions, and we'll get to it later. But we will get to your Knicks questions. We will start to have guests. Hopefully, some of my friends from the Nick of Time show will come on. Some from my friends from Blue Orange Tears will be on. We will talk about more than the cap. So we're going to talk about more than financials. There's a lot of teams with a lot of decisions. We're going to discuss that. So please stay tuned. I'm going to try to be on a few times a week, not just one time a week, a few times a week. So please stay tuned. I thank you for staying tuned. And that's it. And we have a week to trade season. There's a lot of things going on in the NBA. So if there's anything that comes up, a big announcement, we will be back on to update you. And with that, I'd like to say good night and see you the next time.